Right now, we try to do this drag and drop here, and we kind of have to do something else here. We need to do on button click, we have to do something. So the reason why this is not working is because we need to add another event in here, which is on mouse button down as well. But remember, on mouse button down here, we are doing that whole thing that if I show you here really quickly, once we come in here and we press any button, it open up the context menu. So what we gotta do here is I just want to do for right click, open up the context menu. If I just do a normal click and drag, we can actually we can actually start to do the drag and drop. So let's go ahead in here. Let me close everything so we can do it together. Right. So in the slot item, yeah, we have a function here on the mouse called on mouse button down. Right. So what we're gonna do here is on the mouse event, I am gonna call a method here. I think we can get button, or I think it's get drag if pressed, right? And what I'm gonna do here, right, is actually the drag key we're looking for here is the right mouse button, right? So I'm just gonna drag these here, plug this guy here, right? And what I'm gonna do here is I just want to connect this return value in here, right? And let me just do it like here. So we just make sure that this is runs a better way. And let's see what's gonna happen. Let's see if we still are able to see the context menu. And now we should be able to do the drag with the right click. Yeah, which is good, right? So right mouse button, nice. Okay, so yeah, we're still able to see this around. So what I'm gonna do here right now is I'm gonna go back here to my event graph, right? I am gonna open up here my on drag detect. And if you notice in here, we're kind of doing something, some pre-logic in this. So if I just show you here again, pressing play, we should have a different color here when we're trying to drag stuff. So that drag, it is actually working, right? So what we're gonna do here right now is we have to tell the engine that how we want to do the drag and drop detect, right? So let's focus first how we kind of want to do the draggable item, right? So there's a couple of ways the way you can actually do the drag and drop visualization. So let's try to do a simple way here. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna get this arrow and I'm gonna create something, create a drag and drop operation, right? And normally it does ask for a class. Well, our class, we don't really have one, so we're just gonna use the drag and drop class for now. We're not gonna have any tag. The payload here, it can be anything. So the payload is basically what we're gonna be using to when you drop, to access things like the UI, the player, where you want to drop from and where you want to drop to. So what I'm gonna do here is on the payload, I'm just gonna make sure I'm using self as a reference. Okay. So I'm just gonna put self because I want to send the WP slot item self-reference to this, so we can do all sorts of stuff on that, right? Next thing we want to do here is ask for a visual. Normally it could be a default drag and visual. Let's see here if for now we can use this icon as a visual. I'm not 100% sure if this is gonna work. Yeah, that works. So let's use the icon for now. So basically that will be the icon reference we try to drag and drop to, right? And we got the offset, we don't care about this. We do pivot center, that's fine, right? And then all you gotta do here is we're just gonna plug this arrow here and also the operation right here, right? Remember, what we're trying to achieve here is if you drag and drop outside the inventory, we want to drop the item, right? So let's press play and let's see if this is gonna work. So coming here, right click, there we go. So got the item coming back. You see that? It is a little bit small, but I think it's fine for now. So we got the item here. We can actually drag the item around. If you guys want to create, for example, better graphics for this, what you can actually do here, we're going to create another widget here. You're going to create and call user widget, and just going to call WBP and call. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but this is just so in case you want to create your own graphic for this. We're going to call drag item, right? I'm going to open up this. I am going to add here just, let's add a border for now. So you guys can add a visual in here, and inside the border, I'm going to add an image, right? Okay. So I'm going to add a placeholder for now, just so we can actually see the design working. Let's use here, do we have any texture? Let me use, let's just, there you go, a hammer for now. And then what I'm gonna make sure the custom size, make sure that's, yeah, that's fine. And the border, I'm just gonna make the color something like gray color or something. Opacity like this. It doesn't really matter, guys. I'm just doing something quickly here so we can actually quickly visualize what we're trying to do. I'm just gonna call this icon. Make sure icon is a variable. Go back in here, also mark, we're gonna create another variable inside here, sorry, which we're gonna call, yeah, let's do like this. So I'm gonna create a variable. I'm gonna call icon texture. Make sure the type is texture 2D object reference, right? Make sure that is public and also expose on spawn. And then what we're gonna do is just, we're gonna get the icon and we're gonna just set texture from brush texture, whatever, and make sure you assign this icon here, right? Let's make sure it's like that. It's nice, right? So the size of this widget, make sure it's 100 by 100 there. You can change that in real time, but I think 100 by 100 will be fine, right? Now, what we're gonna do here, instead of using the item icon here, right? What you can do here is just, you can create a widget, right? The widget you want to create is this WBP drag item. So I'm just going to search here for WBP drag item. It's going to plug this here, right? And this ask for an icon texture. Remember, we got the icon texture from the item itself. So I'm just going to break this. I'm going to make sure I put the icon here and hide that. And I'm going to compile and save. So if I press play right now, I think that should work. We should be able to see the icon coming up. So it is coming up. I'm not sure why it is so small. That's just the offset. Maybe what we can do here is, I'm just gonna write this border maybe with scale box. There we go. And maybe what we're gonna do here, instead of a scale box, we're gonna use a size box, right? And I'm gonna write the size box with a scale box. It's gonna be a scale box here. So I'm gonna make sure that the padding is correct. Let's see if this actually will do some kind of a different UI. There you go. Right, I think I'm just gonna leave it like this size for now. We can always go back and change this design, but for now I think that will be fine. We're gonna be we can actually do some we're gonna be able to work with this value right now. Right, so what I'm gonna do now is actually to do the drop part, right? So let's close this item. We can always work on this widget after. So I'm just gonna do this here for now. File and save. That's fine. So right now we have to set up a place or something that we're gonna do basically on drop, right? We need to make sure that on drop we are trying to do something with this. So we kind of have to set up where we want to drop, right? So what I want to do here is I want to make sure that on here, not on this slot, but on the inventory item, if I open up the inventory item here, I am going to create a slot grid that we can drop those items. So I think I can just use the whole grid here. So I think let's try this first, right? So go ahead in here on your inventory main, open up the inventory main here, right? Then if you go to graph, we're gonna search for a function called onDrop. Yeah, that's the function we're looking for, right? So what I'm gonna do here, I'm just gonna do a print for now, and I want to print the operation here. Let's see if you can actually detect something. Let's see if this is actually working, if the inventory knows what's going on. So right now is not detecting. It is detecting on the grid here, but it's not really what we're looking for, right? So what I'm gonna do here is just for now, I'm gonna add a border here. I'm gonna make sure that this border gets maybe we could maybe do something, maybe something more interactive. Let's see if I want to try to do something different. So I want to try to do something like as the users start to do the drag and drop, these show up with like a color that we can actually see, oh, you can drop the item here or something. So let's see if you can actually try to do this. Let's make sure that this border is behind everything. So let's call this drop place, right? For now, I just want to do one test here before I can actually start to do the logic, which is here. There we go. That's working fine. Remember, we're using the right button here. Not if you click, it's not going to do anything. We're just using the right button here for now. You can always change which button you wish to use in here, right? On the mouse button down. I think if you put left mouse button down, I think that should work with no problem. Let's see if that's actually gonna work here. Yeah, that works as well. You can choose whatever you want. I'm just gonna leave the way it was, the right button mouse. Right, okay. So you got this drop place here, right? So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna make just like a color, something like this for now. Oh, why didn't it change the color? That's because I changed in the wrong place. Let's make sure it's like this color like this. I'm gonna change the opacity to something like this, right? I'm gonna compile and save this. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna create a quick method, right? It's gonna create a custom event here on the inventory place, which I'm gonna call display. Now, you know what? I think I'm just gonna forget about this because otherwise it gets unusable. What I'm just gonna do it in here is I'm just gonna make sure that this fill the whole area, right? This drop place here. So offset 0, offset 0, offset right 0, offset side 0. Make sure that this fill the whole area, right? Whereas the opacity, make sure this is in 0, right? Compile and save. And the reason, guys, why I'm not gonna do that is just because I think it makes more sense for us just to have that thing on all the time, so we can actually drop this item in here, whatever we want, because it's more like an inventory behavior. Right, so we got that, right? So you got this, yeah. So just create a border inside your canvas. Make sure it is on top of the main inventory. So if for some reason this is in here, just make sure you got this behind the inventory. The way you see it's behind is if you change here the opacity to 1 for now, If it's not behind, it's gonna be like this. You're not gonna be able to see the inventory. We want to make sure that this is behind inventory because the inventory is the main window here for now, right? It's gonna make sure that opacity is 0 so the player doesn't notice what we can actually see here, right? Okay, so after you've done this, let's go back in here where we create on drop and let's start to do that logic, right? So in here, what we can actually do is we can call a method that's called get drag and drop operation, I think. So it's gonna get drag, get payload. There we go. So we want to get a payload. If I just do a print in here really quickly, if you notice the type of the payload here should be WBP slot item, right? Let me just go show here. So that should be WBP slot item. So we got access to WBP slot item, and then we can actually get the icon and do all sorts of stuff, right? So what we're gonna do here is, if you notice, the payload is just an object reference. We could use an interface to get the slot item, but because we're kind of using this we're not using these all the time, so we can just use a cast in here. I think a cast will be fine. It won't take too much performance, won't take too much performance in our inventory. So we're just gonna cast to WBP slot item, right? So this, and the reason why you're doing a cast is because right now we have access to all those variables in there. So we can do things like get item, for example, right? And what I'm gonna do here right now, remember that we have, let me open up here my own components, our inventory here, that we have this method called remove inventory item. What we can do here is simple. We can just get the inventory reference here. We can call a method called remove inventory item, and this is gonna ask for the item, and hopefully that should work. But we got the item reference here because it's coming from the cast slot, so in theory they should work fine. So if I press play here, we come in here and then we drag the item. There you go, you guys got the item in the inventory again, which is basically what we're looking for. So right now we can drag the item, you can click in here and just press delete. That should drop the item here, and that's it, guys. So we kind of got the base of our inventory now. So we can get items, and we can drag and drop the item here. We can just drag the item outside the inventory. Right, so in the next part of our RPG series, I am gonna start to work as well on the use. So we're gonna be able to make sure we can use the inventory. We're gonna just be doing some cleanup on the next one. So we're gonna probably make sure that this context menu comes from an option variable that we can define against every item. Because, for example, this item is a resource, and you cannot really use a resource item, but you can just drop or delete or whatever you want. So we're gonna make sure that we can use those options after more dynamically, right? So for now, guys, this is it. So thank you very much for watching. Once again, if you got lost during this series or during this video, just go back, rewatch a couple of episodes. Make sure you understand how we can actually do a drag and drop and why we're doing all these things in here, how this works, what's actually happening here, because it's a very important part of our inventory. So thank you very much for watching, and see you guys on the next one.